You're an idiot. I know. Well, guys, you might remember on the last episode, my Primeweld wasn't working with my CNC, and that failed. Real disappointed. But it's okay, because I got another one. Second chance. Welcome back to the shop today, guys. So, our Primeweld failed. I think there might be something with my machine too, so I'm going to go over some of that stuff too. But Primeweld's customer service, guys, on point. But that's only as good as a product they send. So they sent me a replacement. I'm going to crack this guy open, see what they all sent me here. So they followed through, and within a week and a half, there were some holiday delays in there. So about a week and a half, 2 weeks-ish, I got my replacement in. They were very quick to help me out. So that part, I'm thrilled. But I'd be more thrilled if this thing worked on my machine. So I'm going to open this thing up, and I'm going to probably do some manual testing. I didn't do that with the last one because I didn't plan on using this thing manually. I wanted it on my CNC. Shouldn't have done that. So I'm going to manually use it a little bit, see if make sure everything is kind of functioning and working. And then we will do some more tests before we put it on the machine, because I don't want this thing to either fail again or have my machine cause it to fail, or whatever the case may be. So anyway, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to go through some stuff. Probably won't show a lot of that. If you want to see that, you can see that on my first video, me pulling all this out, pulling this stuff all out and looking at it. And so yeah, we'll keep at her here, and we'll come back when I got some stuff to tell you. Okay, so we got our new Primeweld CUT 60 hooked up, not to the CNC. I just hooked up the torch and the ground that I had from the first plasma. Ran this thing at 35 amps with, I think it was 50 psi. 50, yeah, I think 50 psi of air pressure. And I just docked off some corners here real quick. Everything functions the way it should. So I'm going to start diving into the CNC now and see if I might have any hookup issues. I might try crossing the trigger wires from the CNC plug and make sure that operates the operates the plasma cutter. Might check my relay in my power box here. I don't really know. So I'm going to try figuring something out. Everything seems to be working with the plasma cutter, so at this point on, it'll be a me problem. Just so you know, I was using my new Yes Welder helmet. Nice unit, guys. It's got the 3 features, the weld, the cut, and the grind. Works really, really well. Nice big wide screen. This isn't a review on that thing. My old one was just an old, tired Harbor Freight one, and yeah, you still needed to have your safety squints on when using that one. So, picked that one up. That was $100. Money well spent from what I can see. Holds my big noggin nice. But anywho, that's not what this video is about. I'm going to start going through the machine a little bit, and I'll update you shortly. Well, guys, did some looking at the machine. Did some hard thinking. Did some research, called a few friends. You know, used all my lifelines, and well, I'm an idiot. Something that I have completely overlooked is grounding my machine. Yeah, there, I said it. I admit it. I have not grounded this machine. There is no grounds outside of the power wires for the power supplies going to my ground in my outlets. There is no grounding on this machine. And you know, when you're looking up on the Google machine trying to figure out how to build one of these guys, nobody really talks about it. They say ground it, but I mean, nobody really sits there and tells you how, what, where, when, and why. Once I kind of heard that from a few friends and from the interwebs, it kind of all made sense. I have all the shielded wire that I used, and what's the point of shielded wire if you don't ground the shielding? Or why don't I have an earth ground to my table? Or, you know, anything. Nothing's grounded. And if you don't have anything grounded, apparently you get a lot of noise from your machine. So I have tried it again since our last discussion, and I made it about a ½ inch further in a cut than I made it previous. The reason for that is that I moved my computer as far away from the plasma as I could and tried it again, and that seemed to kind of put me in the right direction. So, got a lot of plans. First, ground the machine. The ideal situation is I should be putting a ground rod right outside of this corner of my shop into the ground and ground everything to it. I can't do that right now because it's freezing cold and the ground is frozen, so I won't be able to get anything into the ground. But that will be my main plan for springtime. In the meantime, I'm going to ground everything on the table, and I'm going to send it to house ground or the plug ground. It is, I don't know if that'll be adequate enough. That's what I'm going to try. I've also moved my machine over here. I put a old cabinet I had here, threw that over there, got it away from this spot. I'm going to take my cable out of my cable tracks and I'm going to suspend it. I didn't want to do that, but I got to try getting everything separate as possible. So got the plasma over there. I'll do my computer and my electronics over here. Yeah, so I got some plans on how to ground all that. One, I'm going to use these ferrics. What are they called? I don't know, ferrics or ferrets or something. These little guys, they're basically these that are on your cables. That limits a lot of noise, so I bought a pack, I think about 15 of them. I'm going to put those all everywhere I can think of. Going to take some cables from the table itself, find a good spot to ground the table. I might even ground multiple spots of the table. Going to grab all of my shielded wire. I'm going to put ground wires on all of those and lead those to a grounding block that I'll quickly make up. And then we'll send all that through to our house ground. And hopefully that'll be enough to get us by until I can put a ground rod in the ground. So, not perfect, boys. What are you going to do? You'll learn. I need this thing to, make me some money because my wife is still pissed on how much I've spent on this thing, which actually isn't a lot, guys. But I want to make more stuff too, and there's a lot of projects I have coming up in the future that I could really use this. So I'm going to get to grounding all of this. I don't know if I'll finish that in this video. If I do, you'll see it in a few seconds, or I'm just going to play the ending of my video. I don't know. We'll come up with something. But I'm going to get to work, boys, and we will get this thing going. Stay with me here. All right, guys. If you can't tell, I cut some stuff with how smoky it is in here. I don't know if you can really tell, but I really need an exhaust fan. I was wearing a respirator for while I was cutting. But she's cutting again, which is great. My feeds and speeds are kind of off still, but I don't really care about that. I just want this thing working. So I just cut this little Lecumen Fabworks sign. Dross is pretty ugly. It did something where it would slow down before every little corner, and I actually didn't like that. I think that caused actually more dross than if it would have just kept going at the right speed. But all that aside, my grounding worked to a degree. I cut some smaller stuff on this side of the table, just some little circles and stuff. I did have one hiccup. Moved over here, started cutting over here, and I was fine. I think it's because it's just a little bit further away from electronics. I might try to push those further back. I don't even have everything grounded that I should. I grounded everything that I could right now. It works. So obviously I'm on the right track. So I might still use this as, it's a bunch of Band-Aids, but I'm going to use it like it is right now for upcoming projects, I hope. And then come springtime, I'm going to hopefully build a different enclosure box, maybe, and get the grounding rod, and I'm going to rewire some stuff to the point where I can ground everything really well, because that was not on the top of my mind when I was putting this thing together, obviously. Primeweld works great, so that's always good. But I'm pumped. It works, so that's all that matters. So anyways, thanks for stopping by, guys. I tipped over 300 subscribers day or two ago. Thank you all very much for that. I appreciate that very much. So going for the 400 or 500. That's kind of 500 is kind of my goal for 2022. As long as I can keep things rolling here, we'll have stuff to do. So I got some tools and stuff I want to build. And once spring comes, we'll start looking at the race car again. So anyways, thanks for stopping by, guys. We'll see you on the next one. See you.